Does it ever feel like you're a marketing professional just speaking into the void? But with LinkedIn ads, you can know you're reaching the right decision makers, a network of 130 million of them, in fact. You can even target buyers by job title, industry, company, seniority, skills, and did I say job title? See how you can avoid the void and reach the right buyers with LinkedIn ads. Spend $250 on your first campaign and get a free $250 credit for the next one. Get started at linkedin.com/campaign. Terms and conditions apply.
The family that vacations together stays together. At least, that was the plan. Except now, the Dastardly desk clerk is saying he can't confirm your connecting rooms.
Wait, what?
That's right, ma'am. You have rooms 201 and 709.
No, we cannot be 5 floors away from our kids.
The doors have double locks. They'll be fine.
When you want connecting rooms confirmed before you arrive, it matters where you stay.
Welcome to Hilton. I see your connecting rooms are already confirmed.
Hilton, for this day.
This episode is brought to you by Nature's Bounty. Nature's Bounty believes your body is brilliant, naturally designed to thrive, inside and out. For those always looking for new ways to support your health from head to heels, Nature's Bounty has a range of over 400 vitamins and supplements born from 50 years of trust and care. Nature's Bounty. It's in your nature. Visit naturesbounty.com to learn more.
Wish you could become a morning person? You know the type, up before the sun, early morning runs, first one to the office with donuts and a smile. How do they do it? Easy. With the new Galaxy Watch 8, sleep tracking and personalized insights from Samsung Health help you improve so you can wake up to a whole new you. One who, dare I say it, skips the snooze? It's possible. Train your sleep with Galaxy Watch 8. Learn more at Samsung.com. Requires compatible Samsung Galaxy phone, Samsung Health app, and Samsung account.
Back with another episode of Keeping Current with Kansas City. This is Thad Bell from the KC Soccer Journal. With me, Carrie Robinson, who may not be the most energetic person today, but is still love to have here. By the way, still want to have your dad on. And Daniel Sperry from the KC Star, who is doing the pod from a new location.
Greetings. No, I'm not doing the pod from a new location.
You're still in the old location?
Oh, yeah. We haven't moved yet. We won't move for a little bit. Otherwise, you might have seen a scarf wall and a little window behind me, but
I thought you'd moved, man. I saw you do like dinner there one day.
well, we did dinner. We have no plates. We just bought a house for those who are out of the loop listeners, but we have not moved in yet. We've got a few projects to do before we move in, and then we'll move in. So
Okay. Dang, I was hoping it was all moved in so you couldn't ask me to help. Anyway,
I know. Yeah, you said in a month. So just get hurt or sick in a month, and you're good.
I'm always hurt. All right. Kansas City Current went to Angel City and pulled out a 1-0 win. Not that anybody really saw the goal live, but a decent performance. What do you think? I mean, Carrie, how do you rate this performance? Going there, getting just a 1-0 win. I mean, it wasn't 2-0, it wasn't 4-1, just one.
Yeah, they switched it up this time. I don't know if I'm proud of them or if I'm disappointed in them because it was only 1-0. And especially against an Angel City. I was surprised with the lineup. I think that, they put out all their youngins out, which hurts to say as a designated youngin herself, and everyone else is younger than me. But I thought it was very interesting lineup, and especially, I mean, that no matter what is happening in the game, you get to halftime and you're looking at that sub list and you're like, okay, well, no matter the score, something's happening. Something's going to be cooking on the bench.
Somewhere around the 58th minute, and you're an Angel City defender, and you look over at the people walking over to the sub end. What do you be saying to yourself, man? What are you going, like, damn?
I probably would have said damn. I've also would have said like been a little frustrated that they didn't get more out of the game earlier. I mean, you look at the whole game, they have to be looking at that sideline and also looking at, even in the second half, if you're a defender, like you're looking over your shoulder at the KC Current warming up behind you, because that's the side of the field that they were warming up on. and the current are just sitting there. And you have Dabinia, you have Bia, you have Michelle Cooper, you have Ellie Wheeler, you also have did I say Bia?
Prince.
I don't know, Nichelle Prince. You have so many players that can come on, and you're like mentally you have to be like, we've done what we needed to, and our attack never went and got the goal. We never were really able to break them down. And now all of a sudden, all this firepower is going to start coming in, and I bet there's going to be a goal. And I think that had to there had to have been some frustration running through their heads because, um, you know, the moment that they came into the game, it was like smash and grab because the defenders weren't really tested for in any way, shape, or form dangerously for 60 minutes almost. And all of a sudden they come on, bam, danger, ball in back of net. What just happened? Now we're chasing the game. And that's what the current can do to you when they're that deep.
Yeah, I mean, the only danger that they really had was the set pieces that they gave up outside the box. And even then, easy saves for
Yeah.
Lorena.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they didn't start penetrating into the final third and really penetrating the penalty area until after they conceded the goal. So that's just, again, if you're Angel City, you have to be frustrated with the fact that you held the current, the potentially the greatest offensive team and defensive team and overall team in NWSL history to 0 shots for nearly an hour, and you yourself did nothing of danger. And so that just that's it, man. That's that Angel City performance in a nutshell.
Yeah, they did hold the current to 0 shots for close to an hour. However, it wasn't the normal current. I mean,
Oh,
the front
correct.
three was not starting caliber by any means. Players who have capability and ability and great futures, uh, in Long and Pfeiffer. But yeah, it's not like they held the current. It it wasn't like they were holding, Cooper and Dabinia and Bia or Temwa even, right? So yeah, I agree. I understand what you're saying, but still, it wasn't like they held the full-throated current offense to nothing. And once that offense came on, it quickly changed, and it was a 1-0 game. You look puzzled there, Daniel.
50. So they had an expected goal for the first hour. This is on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 shots. 11 shots taken. They had a cumulative 0.54 expected goals. We're talking less than 0.05 per shot that they had attempted. In fact, they only had 4 chances that were over 0.05 in their expected goals number. Over on the night, they only had I think they had 1, 2, 3, 4 chances that were 0.1 or higher, and the last one was 0.11. So like we're looking at what they did. They never really truly threatened. It was attempted death by 1,000 paper cuts.
I think you could just say Death by a Thousand Cuts after the last album has recently dropped.
Look, I'm not a Swiftie. I apologize. I cannot.
It was right there.
Death by a
This is
thousand cuts.
this is a women's soccer channel. Come on.
My wife is a Swiftie. My daughter's a Swiftie. My wife just got the vinyl in the mail. She was very excited about it. And I've listened to no songs on the new record. Anyways, back to soccer.
Okay, well, your goal after this is to listen to Death by a Thousand Cuts.
Okay.
I'm glad she gave you homework and not me.
You could also listen to it, Dad.
I have listened to some Swift songs in the past, not very many. My daughter, when she was younger, was much more of a Taylor Swift fan. She's already complained about this album, so
Hmm.
she's getting old. Although she's still younger than you, Gary.
It's true.
All right, the young ones. I know that they did not get off a great attack, but overall, how did you feel about Pfeiffer and Long and Pfeiffer?
They struggled. It's a It was, and that's probably putting it lightly. I also felt like the midfield really couldn't connect any passes to them. And I don't
Yeah.
know. I felt like the wide players were too isolated. Um, Mary didn't have anyone really close to play off of. Ali Sentinor had dropped a little too deep at times. And Lowe and Hutton, Lowe was pretty good in the first half, but Claire had a really hard time passing. Her passes just seemed off in the first half. It picked up a lot better in the second half. And once some of the more familiar faces came on that she's used to playing with, normally and with the national team too. So, I just I feel bad for both of them because, it's a tough spot to get to put in. You're playing against a team that's fighting for their lives. They have a German national center back and Sarah Dorson, who's a very good center back and was one of the best players in the women's Bundesliga last year, in that position. So, I mean, that's a pretty good defender that you have Mary Long trying to back down and go up against. And I think at times, she was trying to play a little bit too close to the defensive line. Maybe could have dropped deeper herself. But yeah, I just felt like the midfield and the attack spacing wasn't there, both in width, as I felt Pfeiffer and Hopkins were really disjointed, and Mary Long as well. Was kind of disjointed and far away from the midfield itself in terms of depth, between that front three. And so Pfeiffer really never got on the ball, and got an opportunity to kind of show what she can do and taking the ball and driving at players, because the Current really couldn't build up into any sort of sustained possession in the final third, for a lot of that game. So just a kind of a tough outing for them. A good learning moment though, in my opinion.
Yeah, I would agree. I did think Pfeiffer had one or two really good dribbles in that game, in the first half, but I could
There was
be
one
wrong.
where she did get it. She did get into the box and kind of, dribbled in a few players, and I think the either the pass or shot got away from her,
Yeah.
attempt, because obviously they didn't attempt a shot or a shot in the first half. But, yeah, just I just don't know that any of them were able to build up any rhythm. And I just felt like I said, spacing, I think, kind of played a little bit of a role in some of that.
For me, I think oftentimes it's the when you change too many people at one time, it's hard for them to have that connectiveness, the continuity. And when you add the fact that two of them are young, well, three of them when we include Katie Scott back there at the right back, and Ali Sentner is still trying to work her way into the team, fully know everybody and stuff, although she's coming along on that, and I'm sure we'll talk about that a little bit more later. I just feel like if you would have only changed one of those players, then they fit in way better because everybody else can kind of help them along. But when you change 3-4 players like that, it's really hard.
Yeah.
Especially on the road against a team that's fighting.
Yeah. Carrie, what saith you?
Yeah, I watched more of the second half because I was at a watch party for the Chiefs. And, I would really love NWSL to get their act together and put replays out the next day. Because I took a nap before this, but I was gonna watch. I made an attempt to try to find the replay of the entire game so I could watch that first half. And I could not, so then I took that nap instead.
I think you needed that nap.
Probably.
It was karma. It was fate, whatever. You needed a nap. But yeah, it still a good performance, a good learning lesson for those younger players.
This episode is brought to you by Nespresso and Samra Origins by the Weekend Coffee Collection.
Introducing Samra Origins. My collaboration with Nespresso is a connection to my roots, to my mother, Samra. Coffee that hits the right notes. It transports you. Crafted with unique notes and bold, soaring flavors. Experience a taste that moves you. Nespresso and Samra Origins.
Discover more at Nespresso.com.
This episode is presented by State Farm. Having insurance isn't the same as having State Farm. It's like expecting the leadership of a team captain on the football field, but getting a sea captain. You wouldn't settle for just anything for your team. Shouldn't it be the same for your insurance? So don't settle for just any insurance when you can go with a leader. State Farm. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
No one should have to choose between their own safety and their pets. But nearly half of domestic abuse survivors delay leaving because they can't bring their pets with them. Purina is helping to create more pet-friendly domestic violence shelters through the Purple Leash Project, so survivors and their pets can escape and heal together. Visit Purina.com/purple to learn more.
Anything else significant out of this game?
Hey, Scott. And she made team of the week in the NWSL. I mean, like we have to acknowledge her performance. I thought she was quite good in that spot. She had a lot of tough players going at her. Kennedy Fuller, one in the age group above her within the U.S. Youth National Team, kind of did get her a little bit on one, and the Angel City really, really tried to go at her, but I thought she did a really good job of holding her own. There was a couple of times where she ventured too far forward, and I thought, oh my gosh, she's lost the ball. Is she going to track back? And she went and checked somewhat, like she knew where the ball was going to go before it went to her spot, and went and like messed with that midfielder to knock them off the ball and force the ball backwards so she could get back to her spot. I just thought that was a play in the second half, or in the first half, where she did that, and it just felt like that is such a light years ahead mental read for an 18-year-old to be like to be able to predict where that ball was going to go instead of just like trucking back to her spot, and maybe the pass before the pass that goes into her vacated space at right back gets made, and it all goes forward, and she still doesn't get back and gets burned, right? Like this was like, hey, I'm going to force you back again and out and around back into our press, and then I'm going to jet back to my spot. I just thought it was just such a heads up play. I wish I had written down what minute it was, but it was just something I noticed from her that she did. I thought she was really good in possession as well. A very good game for Scott, and like I said, team of the week this week for the NWSL, and quite deserving of that in my opinion.
What a comeback story from her.
Yeah,
No,
for real.
Not playing any games, getting sent on that loan, not playing in that loan, coming back, immediately impacted.
Yeah, went 90 minutes too, and did a very close to 90 minutes. I think she went
76.
76, yeah. So still very good for a player who I think we're going to see a lot more of the future, especially if she puts in performances like that.
Yeah, nice to see her be able to go longer with that first game that we saw, and she was pretty gassed by 45.
Yeah, that's part of the learning process and growth process for young players, though, or players who just haven't been starting much, is you got to go through that and build that tank where you can go 45, you can go 60, you can go 90, you can go 90 without being totally gassed.
But also, do you learn how to pace yourself, right? And do you need to make there's a level of like the current do all these little things that are like extra, right? We're going to take the extra step in on our press, and we're going to take the extra they're going to make the extra run here and run the extra yards because you might get to that loose ball, or you might make them sweat a little bit, and it forces a different play. Like the current do all these little things like that, but at the same time, as a player, you kind of have to pace yourself and know when you can and can't do that. And I think that's a battle for all young professional players too, and just figuring out how do I last 90 minutes at this pace of a game that the pro game is, and how do I not burn all that out?
Some never do. They end up being bench players for the rest of their lives.
Mm-hmm.
So young ones, including Katie Scott. You mentioned Claire Hutton probably didn't have her best game in the first half. I thought it was okay. It wasn't great, but I think part of it was just not having the players that they're used to. Seems like a couple passes I saw from different players would go to where you would have expected a Bia or a Temwa or a Cooper to go, and then there wasn't that player there. They may have just not been fast enough, maybe not saw the play, whatever it was. So I think there's a lot of that to it. Again, that's why it's hard to change out so many players at one time.
Even with the rougher first half, she came out on foot mob second best current player
Yeah.
on ratings.
Well, she did a lot of defensive work too.
Yeah.
That was there for sure. I just thought that her passing game I've seen better. But that is what it is. Like you said, came back in the second half. Also, kind of noting this too, like since the break came back, Hutton has only played 90 minutes 3 times. She's not done it in back-to-back games. She did 80 minutes, 45, 90, 79, 77, 45, 83, 90, did not play, and then 90 against Angel City. So seems like, there's a disruption of minutes. We know she played a ton of minutes last year. There's a disruption in minutes and on and off and like you said, new players in that. Does that change players' rustiness and all that kind of stuff? So
I think we want to come back to that in a little bit later. Anything else specifically from this game? Actually, I just have one question. Can we definitively say Cooper scored that goal?
no, I can't. But like I also don't know. I don't know how else that ball ends up in the back of the net because I don't like it had to have touched both of them. But the question is, who did it come off last? And no angle that we've seen yet
Right.
has shown definitively who it was.
I need to see a very extreme slow motion of this.
So if they're going to give it to Cooper, give it to Cooper. But you need like an in goal from behind the play zoomed in to see like where does that ball come off and who. So
I took a screenshot and I kept like backing it up just to see. And from this one screenshot that I finally got, Setner looks like she's kicking Michelle Cooper and that her foot is behind Michelle Cooper's calf.
So like she kicks Michelle Cooper's leg into the ball.
Yes.
That's amazing. A true team goal.
Yeah, I kind of felt like one of them should have got the assist and the other should have got the goal, but for a brief second, I worried that Sentner touched it to Cooper, who touched it forward and would have played or been technically offside by an inch.
Oh no, they were good on offside.
No, I know, but that was just that brief worry, like when I saw how that play went.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, they got the goal. It would have been good for Sentner to get it just because she hasn't had one for him yet, right?
Mm-hmm. No, she has not scored for the current yet.
So.
Add her to the list, but it's good for Cooper just to, being on the bench. It still keeps the momentum going. Her minutes will probably be limited a little bit more as we are trying to play out until playoffs, keeping everyone healthy. So keeping the confidence going.
Yeah. I mean, anytime you can see the ball hit the back of the net, it's going to be a confidence boost.
Yep.
So I know she kind of started off the break a little rough, but she's got like 2 goals in the last 3-4 games or so.
Yeah.
And some assists. So you're feeling good about Michelle Cooper right now.
I'm feeling good about most of those players right now, but
yeah.
All right. We will take a short break and be right back. And we're back. How many games in a row now that they've won or not lost, or what's the record now? They just set a record.
16, 6. So the record was that they won 19 games. They have gone 16 games unbeaten. I believe last year's Orlando have the record for most consecutive league games unbeaten, which I don't know if the current can. I think the current have to win every single game remaining to catch, but I'll go back and look and see if I can find it.
But they've won more games, and have they got more points than anybody? I don't think that's accurate yet either.
Not yet. I think they need 2 more points to set the record. Last year, Pride had 60. Right now we're at 59. And then the Pride entered an unbeaten streak of 23 consecutive games last year. And that also dates back to 2023.
Yeah, because they did
Yep.
Yeah, I know. Because you're right. The 2 more points to set the record for points. And they have 3 games left to get those 2 points. 2 of them at home, 1 on the road. And I think they just need 2 more points to have the most points per game, which is less, like, nobody cares
They
about
need
that as much, but still.
they need like three, I think. I think they needed to hit 62 to beat the points per game mark that 2019 North Carolina and 2017 Portland set out, which is about the same.
I think it was 2018 North Carolina was like
Oh yes, 2018.
2.38.
Yes.
Orlando Pride was 2.31 in
Yep.
2024.
Yeah.
North Carolina was 2.04 in 2019.
Yeah, it was at 18. I think it was 18 or 18 North Carolina had the points per game record, and that was they current needed to get to 62, I believe, to defeat that points per game mark.
So, all right,
double checking, but
they continue to set records. They continue to basically, oh man, I'm gonna sound like I work for their PR. They continue to set the standard in the women's game. Hey, I'm very happy for him, and there's a lot of people there that I'm really, really rooting for to do well. It does just get a little repetitive once in a while, but uh, any other records? I mean, like this is kind of crazy how well they're doing right now. I mean, they could just blow off the next 3 games. I know they're not going to, but they could blow off the next 3 games.
they
And
could.
I know they're not going to. Um, do you think Timwa does the Golden Boot?
Yeah.
I know she was listed as hurt for this game, but she was listed as hurt a couple games ago too. And she came in the next game and started. So,
yep. Yeah.
I think that's just Vlaco's way of making her not be on the bench.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think she ends up. I mean, Esther hasn't scored in a little bit, so
isn't she hurt too?
She played this weekend.
Okay.
She only went 30 minutes, so she's gone.
So she's coming back from injury.
Yeah.
I know she went down a few games ago.
Yeah, she went 45 in the 3-0 win over the Thorns, and then only went 30 minutes in their 0-0 draw this weekend with Seattle. She's not scored an NWSL goal since August 29th.
Wow.
Yeah, Tamara's got it in the bag.
Yeah.
I mean, Esther has 13 goals, but so it's not
I don't
100% in the bag. But yes, I think with the assists that Temwa's been getting lately too, she's added a couple. She's at 14 goals and 3 assists now. I think I'd be stunned if it wasn't her.
I'd be surprised, but stranger things happen.
Yep.
Don't know how much Vlaco will rest her too going into the playoffs.
Yeah, you want Temwa firing at all cylinders going in, man.
With 3 games left, and I know Vlaco said before that they were going to kind of not coast, but let people rest for a couple of 3 games, and then the last 3 games kind of ramp it back up. How do you do that? I mean, do you still give some major players rest? Do you give them 60 minutes? Do you do like this game and just give them 60 minutes or 30 minutes at the end of a game a little bit longer? How do you guys approach this? I mean,
well,
I think.
Go ahead, Carrie.
Well, okay. I was gonna say I think that they should maybe have the same approach that they just did in this last game with the Houston Dash and the San Diego Wave. Dash is fighting and kind of drowning in their playoff chances. San Diego Wave is a contender for a home playoff spot. Never mind. Just kidding. Not anymore. They were, and they looked really good, except for when you look at their stats, they were only beating bottom of the table teams. So I think those ones are fine to, kind of relax a little bit, unless, that last game you're right before playoffs and you're gonna try to ramp it up just to make sure everyone's okay again. But I don't know this upcoming game against Gotham. I mean, we didn't not really have a 1 versus 2 match in Orlando. It was a 1-1 draw against then the 1 versus 2 with Spirit. You gotta, kind of figure out how to put yourself above that with Gotham being in third place.
Yeah, I think you start like you go 60 with your best this weekend. The best that you can healthily. And then you go 75 with your best the next weekend in Houston. And then you go you give them you at that point um you have a week off because of the international break between that game and the others. So then maybe in that game you say, okay, we'll go 90 with some of our national team players in the Gotham game, but against Houston, because we know the national team players are going to go and play a bunch of games and have international travel and stuff like that. We're going to just go 60 or 45 in Houston if they can wrap up the result. But then that final home game against San Diego, you got to treat that as a practice playoff game, in my opinion. San Diego will probably be fighting, as you said, for seeding lives and stuff like that. Um, and it's gonna be kind of interesting in that one. And you've got Camille Ashton coming back to the house she helped build, I guess, in some way, shape, or form. That puts his hands over his face and groans. Um,
Can I insert some laughter now?
yeah, it's
I'm gonna edit that in
it's a
later.
little,
You having a laugh? I think he's having a laugh.
it's a little bit. It is mostly in chess here, but I just look at that matchup is your perfect run because there's a chance that that's the game the very next weekend too, especially if San Diego stays in that eighth spot. Or if you're Kansas City, you have the opportunity to knock out the Wave. Then you do treat it like a playoff game, and you go in and you knock out the Wave as your first playoff game, and then your first official playoff game. Let's say North Carolina makes their way in. There's your playoff game. We got a KC versus North Carolina in the first round again. Like that's entirely possible. So I'd be really interested to see how they do it, but that's how I would do it.
Fair enough. I think I kind of go 60 in this next game, 70 with depending on certain players. I mean, we could discuss down to each player level, but knowing that some of them, for the U.S. players, they're going to turn around and come right back to Kansas City essentially and play one of those games because there's two games.
Mhm.
Because it's the first game I think is in Kansas City.
Second.
Second. Then they got a pretty short turnaround because it's the
Nope.
29th, I think.
Nope, third.
Yeah. They have three games?
23, yeah, 23, 26, 29.
All right. So at least they'll be coming back. All right. And then just you play it by ear for the last one, but you don't want to take it too easy. You don't want to let a team come in and give you a loss in your last game for damn sure.
Yeah.
All right. Next game is Gotham, and we've kind of already started talking about that. Like I said, I probably go 60 for at least for a good chunk of the main players. Again, we can never truly predict this because we don't know the real injury status for a lot of players or, the question marks and stuff. I think we had talked about this a little bit before we started recording, but do you favor right now going into the playoffs in the midfield, Dabinia or Sentner?
Dabinia. She's had even so before her injury, she was top of her game. We were saying prime Dabinia. She was looking like that again. But she had a slow start coming back out, but she's getting back into her run of game of looking like how she did the first part of the season.
Daniel?
This is hard. I probably say Dabinia though. There have been a lot of actions that I've liked from Setnor with this group. I think she's a different defensive presence in the midfield than Dabinia is, but Dabinia's got 2 goals in the last 3 games that she's played. The Seattle game, she played phenomenal. She was phenomenal against Bay FC and probably should have had a goal or two in that game, to be honest. That Washington Spirit game was tough. She only played 45 minutes, kind of rested and rotated her. But that game against Seattle, she was phenomenal the whole freaking game. The game against Chicago, phenomenal the whole freaking game. And so I just look at players like her, and you see the link up play that she has with um uh with Bia, the ability to spring Bia and or Temwa. That is like that with Michelle Cooper kind of isolated, flying in either to serve crosses up or to make a run at the back post. Like that is the best soccer that we've seen out of this team so far in the attacking third. And I just think that I think that group has to be the group.
I still think that is probably going to take Sentner a little bit more time to gel with this team. Again, I mean, we've had her since July. And so it's been 3 months, but to an extent, like last year was such a phenomenal year as well that Dabinia Rowell, she did not stand out as much and she was kind of still lost and, everyone else kind of rising up. She's still, the core of the team is the same and she's had a year and a half to play with this team.
Yeah.
This is where I'll question a little bit. I think if you're looking to win the next game, it's Dabinia starts, right? Boom. Absolutely. I think if you're looking to continue your good form right now, you still may want to play Sentner and Dabinia kind of a 45-45 or 60-30 because Sentner has younger legs. No offense, Dabinia. If she gets a little more injured, you still have Dabinia who can do the creating. So right now in the lead up, I might play Sentner a little bit more on the minute side than I would Dabinia. But when it comes to win the game, it might depend on the opponent. But I think if you need somebody to score a goal in the last 30 minutes, it's absolutely 100% Dabinia over Sentner at this point, obviously. I shouldn't say obviously. Everybody has different opinions. But what would be your rest of your lineup in the midfield at a best win now scenario? Let's back it up. What's your front six best win scenario, assuming everybody is reasonably healthy?
I think I'm putting Temwa back out there for this next game. Cooper. And then who's this? Is that technically Dabinia then? Because Bia and Dabinia kind of switch up kind of on lineups and then they just flop back and forth. So I guess technically it'd be Bia on that left side. And then Hutton, Dabinia. Everyone knows I have those two in the lineup. And Low.
Daniel,
I think there's
same.
I think there's going to be a little bit more argument for what defense we put out there, though.
Yeah, I think the front six is Low, Claire, Deb in the midfield, and then the front three left to right, Temwa, Bia, Cooper. It's just right now that's the group. I think they're the best group that they've got. The consistency is there. They read each other's minds. The press, the defensive work, like it's just clockwork when that's the group on the field.
Yeah, that's hard to argue with. If there was other players healthy or not pregnant, you could make some definite arguments there.
Yeah.
And I still would consider starting Sentner over Dabinia in some of these games, mainly because of younger legs, and she does do some good defensive work as well. Dabinia does some good defensive work, but she's not your hard tackler who at least Sentner can be at times.
Yeah.
I don't want this to sound like I'm favoring Sentner over Dabinia because Dabinia is an amazing player, obviously, but I'm just saying in the right scenarios.
Yeah. Deb's more of a like recovery run type of a midfielder, and Sentnor is like, I'm going to step in to
Yeah.
your ankles and get that ball. Because she doesn't come away with the ankles very much. I mean, when she gets in there, she's pretty good at getting the ball away. But yeah,
Dabinia can do those tackles on the rare occasions when she really needs to, but I do feel like she's more of a shade you into the right spot for somebody else to take the ball away from you and give it to you to do something with.
Yeah.
Whereas Sentner can be the little bit more of a destroyer at times.
Yeah. Yep, for sure.
Do you want to do the back line since we already did the front six?
Yeah.
Well, Lorena
I think-
and goal. Sorry, Laurel. I really like Laurel Ivory, but I will have to say Lorena's in goal. Phenomenal keeper. It's pretty
Yeah.
given, right, for all of us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like with availability, Robinson and Ball are the center backs. Question is, do you put in? I'm favoring Katie Scott over Wheeler for this next game, only because she had such a good last game.
I think that's a fair one. I don't know though.
If we're talking in the very next game, I probably would put Wheeler out there, just knowing who's going to be on the other side of the ball with Gotham. Is a little bit different than Chicago and Angel City.
True.
But I could see that argument. In a must-win playoff game, though, truly Ailey Mace is my right back choice. But given
gotta see how healthy
availability,
she is. Right.
yeah,
Well, in a playoff game, Sharples is also back. Hopefully.
Yes. Hopefully they were both options. This really now, if they were all healthy again and capable of playing, let's just okay. Gibbons, Lorena starts in goal unless somebody's hurt. Sharple starts as a center back unless somebody's hurt. But now, who do you partner with Sharples? If everybody, all those defenders that are not season-ending injuries, and we're going to play the, magic, everybody's good enough and healthy. Who do you start as her partner? Ball, Robinson, Mace. I don't want to go any too much further because that's kind of ridiculous.
I think I'm favoring Ball at the moment.
Daniel?
I think
Carrie, I cut you off. Do you want to explain?
No, it's okay. Well, okay, is this hypothetically everyone's healthy for the next game or just best at the moment?
Best that's everybody's healthy except season-end injuries, so no Cook.
Yeah. Right. Okay. Yeah, I think I'm doing Ball. I just think that Robinson may still be a little wild going out still, And I think I think I talked about this last week, how I was a little nervous with Ball and Robinson back there because last year we had the same lineup as the back line and they were letting in so many balls. So is the goalkeeper. But besides the point, it's just I feel like Ball is the safer option.
Daniel.
I think it's Ball. But also you have the fun game that you can play of okay, this team is playing a back three, or they're going to play as a back five. We know they're going to be a little bit more defensive against us in the playoffs, right? Do you then say, okay, we'll throw Ball in there and Mace at right back, but then it's the de facto back three basically, and Mace never really gets forward. And Izzy Rodriguez is more playing as a left mid, and Michelle Cooper is playing a little bit more withdrawn in a deeper role instead of kind of pushing up high at the attacking line. That's the thing that they've done at times this year. It's the thing that they did a lot last year at different times. I'd be curious to see if they've run something like that. But in reality, I think it's the best back four from left to right is Izzy, Sharples, Ball, Mace. But I could hear the argument for Mace at center back and Ellie at right wing back, if you really want to have two fullbacks bombing up and overlapping and having fun. Or if you have a really pacey fullback or a pacey opponent winger that you need. Mace is usually pretty good at those, but Ellie Wheeler's just got a tiny bit more, I think, in that sprint tank.
She has a little bit more, and I think she's just a little bit more willing to stick in on somebody pretty damn hard. So, or just run them over once in a while. I mean, she did that a couple times last year, just flat ran some people over. Not trying to hurt them, but did send a damn good message. Honestly, again, there's some very valid arguments in almost any combination you can do at this point. You're talking about really pacey wingers, man. You might want to have Scott out there just to have the pace, but she doesn't have the experience. That's the problem. Ellie Wheeler was thrown into that last year. She didn't have the experience, but she made that case, and she's also pretty good as to get forward at times, as Mace used to be, but it seems to be a little bit less so now. But that's partly because she's been playing more center back. I do probably, if you're just going with who you have now, I probably do go as a Sharples and Mace center back pairing, because I've been very pleasantly pleased with how they performed when they had to. And then that puts Wheeler out on the right and Izzy on the left. All right. I don't think we have any other. I mean, like, we can start arguing who's the first off the bench, but let's obviously, I don't think we can have a great debate on that one.
Laurel
We had too much
Ivory.
agreement on the other ones already.
Laurel Ivory first off the bench.
What's the third keeper now?
This is bad because I should know this, but I don't.
Yeah, I feel the same. I should know her name. I know I've looked it up a couple times because I couldn't remember her name, but without it being Claire Gagne.
Tyler McCamery. No, I added an extra R. Tyler McCamey.
How do you spell that?
McCamey.
Okay. I was gonna mess with you and say no, the Tyler part, but
Oh.
Yeah. And again, Tyler, I apologize for not knowing your name. We just haven't had much chance to know that yet. All right. What else from this next game? What do you expect from Gotham in the attack? I'll ask Daniel because he usually has better answers than you on that type of stuff, Carrie.
Wow. Carrie, give him a good answer.
All right, Carrie, go for it. Prove me wrong. I'd be happy to.
Yeah, they are fighting for that. Just kidding, they're not fighting for that second place. They're still fighting for a home playoff spot, and so I think they've had amazing success with Jaden Shaw. She has stunned everyone with how easily that transition has been, linking up with Rose and Gotham. And so that is going to be a scary duo to go against. And for I'll say weaker defensive center back pairing to go against.
Will it depend on the center back pairing, or will it really depend on the midfield that is going to interrupt them a lot?
Either.
Fair. What can you add?
I mean, I just think that this current team, this should be kind of a nightmare for Gotham in a way, because in reality, yes, they've been very good defensively, but that's also because Juan Carlos Amaros plays terrorist soccer sometimes, and just is not a fun. I don't find the way Juan Carlos Amaros teams play fun to watch most of the time. And I think he is a good manager. He finds ways to get results. He makes the game difficult and stingy in it. In the way that Gotham like to kind of suffocate with possession. But ultimately, this is a Gotham team that they did not score against Seattle, who not the greatest defense in the league lately. They have 1, 2, and they have 3 of of their last 5 games have been draws. I just I look at this team right now and the way that they've been playing, and um, I think they are good. They are unbeaten in 8 or 9 games or so, but they've done so in a manner that just I don't know that this will unlock the current. Um, this lineup that they played out against Seattle. Um, Jaden Shaw, I know Stengel and Hasbo probably will not be playing against the current, although you never know what happens with Esther out. But Midge Purse is still kind of coming back from injury, has not quite been herself this year, just a goal and an assist in 17 matches. The most defensive player that they have in the midfield is Jalen Howell, who a good player, but you have Mandy Freeman as well as Bernina. Both of those fullbacks are get forward type of fullbacks and are going to leave a ton of space in behind. Hello, that's what the current did to them the entirety of that game up at Gotham earlier in the year. And so they play you look at their lineup, it says a 4-2-3-1, but one of those midfielders was Rose Lavelle. That's not a defensive midfielder. No. And so you look at this and the way that the current are, how does, in the way that Gotham doesn't want to try and bypass the midfield. They want to move the ball up and progress it up as a team slowly. Their possession based. That's how Juan Carlos Amorós does things. And the current are a team that just know how to destroy you in the middle third of the field. And I think that is going to be a fun coaching matchup to watch. I wouldn't be surprised if this does end up low scoring, but this is built for Casey Curran on the counter a lot. And I think that with the type of numbers, the players that they have available in it, Emily Sonnet's been a little bit, a step slower this year in their back line. I think they're that is a Gotham team that could be vulnerable to the way that the Casey Curran want to play. So yeah, I think this is a good Gotham team. They have to be wary of players like Jaden Shaw and Lavelle in the way that they play off of each other. And if Esther is in there, she's going to be dangerous. But man, I just think that this is kind of the current play their best lineup. Like Temwa's in there, Sharples is in there. This should be a win, and the current should find a way to be able to get at least 1 or 2 goals on the counter.
So I should have better answers by calling the other coach a terrorist. Got it. Noted.
Why do you call that style terrorist soccer, Daniel?
Look, I will say this, so their draw against Bay FC, relatively even possession. They do tend to be a little bit more possession oriented, but I just find Juan Carlos Amorós sometimes likes to grind the game to a halt. And I call that terrorist ball in the sense of they don't concede because they are stingy about letting the game breathe, and they do so play in a slow manner. Juan Carlos Amorós has just been able to do that with his game. It is not. There's 2 styles I feel like, or a couple of styles of the Spanish game that Spanish coaches come out with, and you have this very tiki-taka, free-flowing type of stuff that Giraldez had when he was there. The guy that currently is the coach, his name is escaping me. Jimenez, I believe, that's the head coach in Washington now after Giraldez left. Pep, all those kinds of guys. But then you have this other brand of soccer sometimes with Spanish coaches that is very, very they move a ton off the ball and they pass the ball a ton, but they don't always do something with it. They're just constantly trying to confuse you to unlock you, and they are very long and deliberate and patient with it in a way that kind of suffocates the free-flowing nature of the game. So that's why I call them. In reality, they are not like bunker and counter merchants. I'm not saying that in any way, shape, or form.
And they're not just fouling you at every moment.
Well, they're pretty good at that. But Gotham is. They will do that, which again kind of lends into that terrorist soccer.
That's why I was wondering why you called it that. But all right, in that previous matchup, talking about the current being able to counter, and I haven't went back and replayed these goals, but the current scored in the 3rd minute with Michelle Cooper assisted by Timois, and in the 11th minute, Timois scored with the assist of Michelle Cooper. So that definitely screams, goals that were kind of scored with a fast attack. And the only goal that Gotham scored was in the 90th plus 11, and Vanessa DiBernardo scored it for them. So again, I don't really remember that. That was a good chunk of the season ago.
But the current smashed him on the counter multiple times because they
Yes.
caught him trying to be too cute in possession and ball progression and smacked him.
Gotham had 62% of the possession. Current had 38%.
This will be a heavily the current, like I said, Gotham foul a lot, right? They're second in the league for fouls per match. The only team that fouls more is the Utah Royals. They have the 4th most yellow cards this year and the most red cards of any team. They are physical. They will foul the crap out of you to try and suffocate you. So it's going to be physical, like it was the first time around too.
Maybe you don't play Timois. Don't risk hurting her.
Yeah, maybe.
I know Vlaco had said that they, as soon as they had an inkling that they were going to clinch the Shield as early as they did, the staff went about studying teams that have clinched playoffs and first places and stuff like that, and what they had to do to not have come into the playoffs with a bad form, bad attitude on the down, and they had a plan. So we'll see how that goes.
This book is going to be fascinating in 20 years.
I know. You can help him write it.
Oh, yes, because I'm so good with words.
Better than me. Daniel's not arguing it any bit.
Just call people terrorists.
Yeah, write that down. Write that down.
Great analytical work from now on. All right. Any other topics we need to discuss before we go? I did want to bring up that I did do the research on the 870-minute streak, and I did do the math, and 870 minutes is correct. So,
here to explain?
Do you want me to?
Yes.
All right. The last goal that the Current had surrendered was the June 14th against Racing at 87 minutes and 41 seconds. So that meant there was 2 minutes and 19 seconds that they did not get scored on. When they gave up the next goal, it was 57 minutes and 47 seconds into that game. So add 57, 47, the 219, and you get the 60 minutes plus some seconds added to the 810 of scoreless game, and that's how you get 870.
Math is not gross.
No. Take that, you Luddites.
Congrats.
All right. I don't know that we have anything else to say. We are out.
Attention passengers, we've now reached our destination. We hope you enjoyed the flight and have a nice day.